What's your ultimate objective?
Your life will always matter more to me. I don't accept that.
Thank you for visiting my Caption Media channel. I'm here to talk about the just released movie Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. There won't be any spoilers and we'll just give you the review. Let's get started. Through Friday, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 had brought in more than $122 million worldwide. The Mission Impossible force has reunited with Tom Cruise, Rebecca Ferguson, Simon Pegg and Ving Rhames to save the planet. Steven Spielberg said this summer that Top Gun Maverick, a movie starring Tom Cruise, saved cinema. With a nostalgic romp that was both contemporary and antagonists ambiguous enough to ensure that the worldwide box office deemed it inclusive enough to embrace it, its box office success seemed to draw audiences back to the theatres after COVID. This summer, making a comeback as Ethan Hunt, Cruise aims to resurrect the box office by taking on a mission that is both exhilarating and has a very contemporary opponent, while also dipping a toe into the Mission Impossible era and fandom. Dead Reckoning's script was written by Eric Jendrison, Bruce Geller and Christopher McQuarrie. Cruise recently cited Harrison Ford's 80-year-old Indiana Jones as a model for what he wants to be doing with Mission Impossible. So perhaps it's not going to be the final send-off of Ethan Hunt after all. Part 1 begins with the setup of what has been touted as the two-part send-off of Ethan Hunt. With the help of rogue actors and the artificial intelligence known as the Entity that has become self-aware and is posing a threat to global security, and being fought by a number of nations in this operation. Additionally, a number of agents from various nations intend to seize control of this entity and utilise it to further their own goals regarding their position within the world. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 feels much more realistic in terms of practical stunts than the series' previous instalments, which featured elaborate stunts performed by Mr. Cruise himself, including halo jumps, helicopter flying, helicopter falls, holding one's breath underwater for nearly 7 minutes, scaling the Burj Khalifa and more. All of the other action sequences, car chases through Rome, train stunts, fire battles, knife fights, etc. feel more realistic, despite Cruise's much discussed motorcycle drop off a mountain into a parachute dash to catch a speeding train. Nevertheless, even these more grounded set pieces are extremely intelligent and thrilling, advancing the story without relying much on cut shots, as a Jason Bourne movie normally does to create the frenzy of the action. Even if there are some of these, McQuarrie manages to preserve a lot of wide shots of the action to make the most of his settings and the expansive screen size they are aiming for. As I noted in my review of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, there are roughly 30 minutes in each movie that are identical beat for beat, although taking place in two separate historical periods and with different action scenarios. That was slightly strange after watching both of these flicks back to back, but nothing too serious. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 is the ideal summer movie to accomplish Tom Cruise's goal of saving the box office, if that's indeed what he wants to do. One of the Mission Impossible series' tightest movies, with action that moves so quickly you don't even realise it's been running for 2 hours and 43 minutes. Dead Reckoning Part 1, which is the first in a two-part series, successfully wraps up its main plot while preparing the audience for Mission Impossible Part 2, by laying out the specific issues that must be resolved. McQuarrie, who contributed to drafting the last several entries, deserves credit for this. He is someone who genuinely understands this series from start to finish. His collaboration with Cruise, which includes work on projects like the Jack Reacher movie, Top Gun Maverick, Edge of Tomorrow and The Mummy, in addition to these Mission Impossible films, has hit a sweet spot as this is their strongest project to date. The stakes for each of the 7 films in this series, which dates back to Ethan Hunt's debut movie in 1996, feel natural and cover the whole range of actions taken by each character. Several nostalgic set pieces, particularly those involving a railway, reference the original movie. Although Cruise's Ethan Hunt serves as the series' focal point, every member of his supporting cast has a chance to shine. By the time the credits start to roll, Hayley Atwell, Rebecca Ferguson, Vanessa Kirby and Pom Klementieff have gotten particularly lucrative parts in this episode. Atwell is given the chance to truly display her action prowess, something that the Captain America movie lacked. I'm thrilled about this movie because the casting was excellent. I can truly say that this is another adventure starring the Mission Impossible force, specifically action, espionage, peril, mystery, intrigue, gadgets, outrageous stunts, and providing pleasure above all. Tom Cruise is certainly giving viewers good reasons to crowd theatres to share the communal experience of seeing films. And it's possible that summer 23, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 will be the equivalent that Top Gun Maverick was in 2022. Despite my discomfort, the script is stuffed with plot-dumping dialogue that repeatedly reminds viewers of the team's motive for travelling the world in quest of a piece of technology, and it delivers in-depth lectures on why the AI is so hazardous. However, after a while it becomes monotonous. But in all honesty, and the filmmakers are aware of this, the enormous spectacle of a Mission Impossible movie is really what the audience is there for. Even though Paramount hasn't been shy about promoting Cruise's risky mounting jump in Dead Reckoning Part 1, nothing can fully prepare you for how exciting it is to watch him accomplish it on the big screen. Even though Dead Reckoning Part 1 is the first of a two-part adventure, despite all of the exposition that plagues the story, it somehow feels like it's a standalone movie. And it's just the beginning of the thrilling scenes that pepper the movie, including a cramped alleyway fight between Hunt and Paris, played by Pom Klementieff, Benji disarming a bomb that recognises him, and the terrifying obstacle course in the end. The movie Dead Reckoning Part 1 follows Ethan Hunt and his team as they try their most challenging assignment to date. They must find a new weapon that threatens humanity's survival and seize it before it is used improperly. By the end, the audience is left with a few unanswered issues, but this reviewer didn't feel compelled to see Part 2 right away. In that sense, studying for an exam that might never arrive is how the viewer may feel about all the material they're required to take in. There's nothing wrong with incorporating elements from many Mission Impossible films into standalone narratives. The first two films did this flawlessly. As I mentioned earlier, Dead Reckoning Part 1 is a weak plotline compared to the solitary, razor-sharp plot of Fallout. The stunts, though, do continue to get larger and better. We learn what's at risk right away, and why Ethan and his crew need to get this enigmatic key early on. Ethan finds that there are numerous barriers in his path, including enemies from his past and some new adversaries who are unwilling to let him do what he wants as he starts to peel back the layers of the mystery. As a result, the entire movie is a giant game of chess between Ethan and Grace, played by Atwell, a new character in the franchise who is hired to uncover the key. It almost seems like people undersold how fantastic Hayley Atwell was in the film, despite the great things I've previously heard about her. She is outstanding in this movie, and after this trilogy is gone, I really hope she finds success in the action movie industry. Atwell is a rising star, so I give Tom Cruise credit for letting her be the focus of this. People of Cruise's stature don't often choose to let others shine in the spotlight, so I'm glad he did. The definition of an action star shouldn't have any boundaries anymore. Tom Cruise is a risk taker that is the last of a dying breed as Hollywood struggles to find the next big action star. He never shies away from putting his life on the line for us, the moviegoers. The stunt we've seen all over social media is only even cooler when you see it built into the film. The film might possess some of the better writing in the franchise. Also, dare I say that this was the funniest film of the franchise to date? A lot of this had to do with the banter between Ethan Hunt and Grace. This movie's script may not be among the best in the entire franchise, although it was story-driven like the early films and the action was built up. We were accustomed to Mission Impossible films for action with a solid plot. Overall, this movie is outstanding technically. While the production set pieces and sound team create some of the most dramatic scenes you will ever see on the big screen, Christopher McQuarrie remains one of the best action filmmakers. The only reason I hesitate to declare this movie fantastic is that I haven't watched the second half. We all knew going into this it was a two-parter, which is okay. It's difficult to evaluate a movie on its own, but if part 2 is even better, this could be the best action franchise ever. Overall, Tom Cruise risks everything for his audience in Dead Reckoning Part 1, which will have people lining up all over the world to witness what he has planned. Additionally, the film has unexpectedly amusing moments. The most humorous film in the series is Dead Reckoning, yet neither the drama nor the plot are ever sacrificed. Eric Jendrison, who will also pen Dead Reckoning Part 2 and has previously penned films like Band of Brothers and Macquarie, jointly wrote the screenplay for the movie. Though considering the stunts in this franchise, there were a few times where I had to suspend my disbelief. Even still, the movie's Deus Ex Machina at the conclusion removed me from the experience. I also noticed a few instances of subpar ADR where the lip syncing didn't match the performer's mouth movements. Despite being 2.5 hours in length, the film moves at a fast pace. It was worthwhile. That much cannot be argued. From the very first scene to the very end, there's a ton of tension, action, and perhaps surprisingly, a lot more laughter than I'm used to from the standard Mission Impossible experience. There were some well done action scenes, and the motorbike cliff jump was emphasised in the promotional materials, but I wouldn't say it was superior to some of the other major feats we've seen in earlier films. But who am I to criticise when Tom Cruise performed that jump on several occasions? Tom Cruise runs a lot, of course. He truly does give it all while running. There was a time when I was genuinely unsure of who was allied with whom and how everyone appeared to be interconnected, particularly in regards to details from Ethan's enigmatic background appearing. I'll anticipate that we'll learn more in part 2. This movie definitely had some because the script said so moments that occasionally irritated me, but that's movies, and I've seen worse from the Fast and the Furious flicks, so perhaps I should give this one some leeway. Although it may not be the best movie, it contains many of the elements we've come to know and love. Overall, I thought the packaging was good, and I'm looking forward to the next instalment to see how they handle it. I'll give this movie a 6.5 out of 10 rating. It's entertaining to see, especially if you enjoy action movies, and I strongly suggest it. If you've seen this film and you enjoyed it, please share your thoughts in the comments section below. Kindly do subscribe to my channel if you enjoy my reviews. I'm heading off now. See you again soon. Have a good one.
I'll rewrite yours too.
If anything happens to them, there's no place that I won't go to kill you. That is written.
What's your ultimate objective?